Hello everyone. So my co-host will be here shortly, in theory. Meanwhile, I'm setting up the stream, and we're starting in a few minutes. Okay. Hmm. So while we wait, my co-host, which is here, kinda almost, uh, I'm going to start with the title, and then my co-host is going to give us a few more topics to discuss tonight. Just to give you a brief overview, my idea is to talk about the clash of cultures because I mean, this is
Oh
starting.
yeah, clash of cultures. That's Italians always being late, isn't that it? Hi everyone. Sorry, I
Okay,
was watching the football and enjoying Russia being beaten by the EU.
yeah, that's another kind
So
of cultural
yeah,
clash there. It
go
was
on. Sorry.
really nice to see that, wasn't it?
Mm,
It's nice when you see Turkey getting beaten up, and then Russia. It
oh
lifts your
man,
spirit, you know.
yeah, it just makes my heart warm. And the thing is, after yesterday's, after that first goal where the Italians tricked the Turks into making making an own goal,
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, this is gonna be our game, man.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, yesterday I don't think the Turks ever shot like towards our net. I don't think they even know what our keeper looks like. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah,
they ever
yeah,
got there.
yeah.
So uh, if they wanted to score a
It
goal,
was
that
it
was
was
the
like
only way. It was only in,
it was like like 90% on the Turkish side, and your
yeah.
side was just empty. Yeah, it was just no. That was just embarrassing to watch. So anyway, what's the subject for tonight?
So this is the title, Clash of Cultures, because we had there's something that happened in Italy, which
Mhm.
I'm using it as a starting point, but that's just one example of an issue we are having in Europe when it comes to
Mm.
multiculturalism,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to the unmanaged one. And this is where I think it's going to be an interesting discussion, and we might get cancelled. but but
Cancel culture, man.
yeah. So let me start from what happened, and then we can go from there. So in Italy,
Yeah.
there was an 18 years old girl from Pakistan, and she is currently missing. And she's most likely have been killed by her uncle with
Honor
the
killing.
help, well, not help, but with the approval of the mother and the father.
Yeah.
And this is because she went against their culture, so a more radical Islam, and the idea that she was supposed to marry someone else, like someone they chose for her, and she started already. She wasn't wearing the hijab and all that stuff, so
Yeah.
she wasn't that she wanted to have a more Western life, and they
Yeah.
weren't okay with that. So
Mm.
uh, she has been killed for that. And by the way, she had already fled the house. Then, to be fair, there's the cultural issue there, which is what I want to talk about today. But then actually there was an issue of, but this is mostly more of an Italian issue of how to help people in need before it's too late, even
Mm.
if and she even asked for help. So um, that's another issue there. Ways to how the state can help in those situations.
Yeah.
In all the things that you could think of, because obviously, imagine you are 18 years old, you don't even have
Mm.
a job, probably or stuff.
Yeah.
Leaving your house, even if it's probably hell, it's not easy if you don't have
Mm.
help from outside. Even if you,
Exactly. Exactly. You know, it's yeah.
I mean, you have, I mean, it's, but I don't want to talk about that aspect of how the state should deal with financial help in those cases. Although we might touch on it a bit later, but
Yeah.
mostly what I want to talk about here is how we deal with this clash of cultures.
Mm.
And there is another issue which we have right now here, which is the right is obviously riding this wave like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. Of
But
course.
for but the issue is for me that the left isn't. A part of
Mm.
the left is like the left is divided on how to deal with this, because
Yeah.
for some reason, feminism is below Islam, somehow,
Yeah.
in some way. As in, yes, it was like everything that happened was awful, but you
Yeah.
can't,
But it's Islam. Yeah. Yeah.
but you
Yeah. We
can't
we've seen the
really.
same thing here.
Which, by the
Yeah.
way, let's be obviously on the right, it's easier because they just say Islam in itself is always bad, so everyone is going to be bad. They have
Yeah.
an easier
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
But
it's
the
a it's
left,
it's a very simple message that they can out. Whereas
but the
the
left
the
though,
difference. Yeah.
it's not really trying. Like they are doing a simple job as a simple message as well. They can't really go
Mm.
further than not all Islam, or Islam isn't bad. It's just some people, because it's not true
Mm.
at all.
Yeah.
There isn't. It's not some people. It's there is a cultural thing there going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can be Muslim without adhering to those more extreme views,
Mm.
but it's not like those two aren't linked. The culture and
Yeah.
the religion, those are they are a thing. You can't just pretend
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's not an issue. And when it comes to the left, they have a really hard time of making, I don't know, even just taking a stand to some degree. It's similar to what happened, for example, in France, when there was that girl which was uh, harassed by when she went online saying, was it like fuck Islam? No, fuck
Yeah.
Mohammed. I don't remember. Something like that. And uh, she had literally death threats, as in credible death threats, by
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
in France, because and France has somewhat of an issue
That's a
there as
big
well.
problem as well.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, the teacher that got murdered, is
exactly.
just one example
So
of beheaded even. That says a lot. I think it has partially something to do with culture, as it were. But which culture? Is it the Islamic culture? No, I don't think so. I think it's more of a tribal culture which goes on in countries which are,
I don't know.
well,
I think
to use.
it's Islam as well, to be honest, because
Mm,
the thing
yeah.
is, uh, let me see. It's more of a national culture. Let's say, like it's more the nations that where
Yeah.
people come from that have those cultures, but those cultures have been influenced by Islam in and the thing is, you could say in theory the same about Christianity, which is kind of true. Like if you were
Mm.
to look at Europe in the Middle Ages,
Yeah,
even if, I mean, to be honest, it was even in the Middle Ages, Europe was better than some places to now today. So even then,
yeah,
it wasn't actually that bad. But uh, when Christianity was much more important back then, and it was more almost as a law. I mean,
yeah.
in some places it was literally law. For
Mm.
example, even just you couldn't, if you didn't like your wife anymore, you would
Yeah,
have to
yeah. You
kill
could
her.
just accuse her of witchcraft, and that was it. You know.
Yeah, that's the only way. But you couldn't just, not have a wife. You just have to
Yeah.
kill her. That's how it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
back
exactly. You
then.
know, and that was allowed. But I think the parallel. I mean, the thing with Islam is that it doesn't have a central figure like Christianity did, or Catholicism did.
I don't
It's
think
more
that's
like
the issue, though.
Protestant. Well, it kind of is because you get this interpretation of Islam, which is very dependent on your local priest. If
Yes.
your local priest is a firebrand, if he's the one going, well, all Westerners bad, and the culture don't mix with the culture, or those kind of things. You do get kind of like a bubble within the Islamic community,
Hmm.
which is less tolerant than the others, and I think that's also a big issue. I mean, if you
I
look at
agree to some
for
degree,
example, yeah, yeah,
but the thing is, if you look at like on Christianity part, Protestants, for example, like the Americans, they don't
mm,
have a central figure, and they are to some degree they are even more extreme than us. That's true, but
yeah,
they are not like even then they do know like there is like an agreed version of like
yeah.
there is even in Islam, even if each one has its own interpretation. In
Mhm.
theory, like there are mostly like big groups,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I see what you're
I'm not
saying.
talking only about Shia and Sunni and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but I mean just even as interpretations, you have two, three, four, I don't know how many groups there are. Like
Mm.
for example, the hijab is this way or that way, and it's not as granular as you might think. There are
Mm.
still big groups that most
Yeah.
people adhere to, and I think it's mostly uh, it's I don't think you can say the culture is the issue or the religion. I
Mm.
think that they are intertwined. So in
Yeah.
some places where they have a culture which is backwards, call it the way it is, and they have that culture, so they would obviously adhere to the religion view that is more backwards, which of the religion strengthens their culture and
Yeah.
becomes a part of the culture. So it's something. It's not that easy to separate the two things, especially as I
Mm.
said in some places, because we are used to not have culture and religion be that much intertwined. Even
Yeah. True.
even when
True.
it comes to people that are like even in Italy, which is not like it's not like Italians are all like atheist or anything, but it's more like we are Catholic, but we never go to church. I mean, most people are that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is
Yeah.
religion.
That's that,
There
that
are
that's more a recent thing though, because that's even up to the 70s, people were still very religious
yeah, that's for sure. But
So I mean that's more recent, and I think the thing is that we also forget that Islam isn't just a religion; it's also a political movement.
yes,
The idea of intertwining religion and policy is still very strong in the Islamic world. I mean,
yeah, but I don't think that. I mean, it's not like I mean, it's literally every other in the big three. Christianity,
yeah,
Islam, and Judaism. They all have that to some degree. The thing is, when it comes to Christians, we just stopped with that. We just left the Pope to do that.
yeah,
He has his own little
yeah,
thing, and he does that there, and we don't care what he
yeah,
says. Then you have Judaism, which is they do kind. I mean, they do to some degree in Israel use religion as a law. like they do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
There is some degree
Israel
of
is
that.
a religious state, you know. I mean, you have to be Jewish to be
But
a full member of
I,
society over there. So,
yes, but I don't mean just that. They do have more, like there are laws that are based on their religion,
yeah.
which they usually it's not like the more extreme ones,
Mm.
but they do have, especially, I mean, even in Israel, they do have some extreme uh, sects, like some parts of some
Yeah,
Muslim. They
just
are
a few
more,
of them, you know.
they are not really that different from Arabs, which are
No.
extremely into Islam.
Ooh, now you've done it, you know. Now we're gonna get the whole Israeli diaspora coming here. No, we're
I mean,
not.
I'm sorry, but if I see some,
Yeah.
like a Jewish old man that hates women, or an
Yeah.
Arab old man that hates women, I mean, it's the same thing for me. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I mean, it's hard to say, you know. I mean, if we look at, to come back to the subject, you know, of Islam, if we look at, for example, Indonesia or, you know, some of the more moderate Muslim states that are out there, you know,
I
there is
mean, you don't
a
have to
case
go
to be
that
made
far.
that,
You just got to go to Albania. I think that's the
yeah,
most.
Albania, for example, you know,
Yeah, but
very
do you know
important
why
as well to
Albania is
us.
the most
Hmm?
less Islamic
Yeah,
country in the world?
because of their lovely dictator structure, you know.
Yeah, because the dictator said you have
Yeah,
to be atheist, and
yeah,
even if
true.
obviously people didn't start to become atheist. The thing
No.
is, even if that didn't like happen, if you change the structure of the society so much that
Mm,
uh, anything religious doesn't affect the way the state runs,
yeah.
even when you can now obviously people can be Muslim or whatever,
Mm,
but the state is already it's already like divided. They but I mean you can't have that. You can't do that. You can do it that way. But to be fair, it's the main reason why Albania, especially when it comes, and for example, you can see it more in. I mean, obviously, it it's something that in other countries as well. But if you go into cities, you can see more of Islam doesn't matter compared
mm.
to small towns where maybe the
Yeah,
state
where
reaches
religion is
less.
still very much part of the structure of society, as it were. You know, I mean, a society. I mean, it's to talk about like the clash of culture and societies. I think we have to first define how that works. You know, I mean, a culture could be, you know, a village culture. You know, one village could have vastly different kind of
Yeah, they can do stuff differently.
yeah, they can do their own. They can do their own thing, and then you go to the next village, and it's completely different. You know, or the way that they talk. Even
I
I mean,
mean, that's how
you
Europe
see
used to
that
be.
here in small villages in Europe as well. I mean, I'm sure you have that in Italy as well. When you go from one place to the other, you know that there's big differences between what's going on. You know, culturally.
Or hoping the other town
Yeah.
dies because they are your enemy from back
Yeah.
in the
Okay, but that's
days.
just European, you know. I mean, you can't get 2,000 years of war out of us just like that, you know. I mean,
The thing though is, and I think this is the hardest part, which is, and this is where it becomes a bit more complicated because you have people that say every culture is a culture. There are
yeah,
no better cultures and worse ones. I kind of disagree. So the thing is, I don't think every culture is the same as other cultures. And how do we deal with those? I, I don't want to call them like inferior cultures because it's not like all the parts of like if you tell me Pakistani culture and even if I might not like their food, but food is fine. Like
yeah,
it's a part of culture. It's fine. But then there's the part of
yeah.
where it's human rights and stuff, and I can't just say that's their culture, even if there it is though. I mean that's
Yeah.
how
I mean, we're
their
very
study
lucky to live in
works.
the West in that way. You know, I mean, through all the conflict that we've had and all the also the religious upheavals and stuff, we've learned to deal with those things. You know, and I think in a country such as Pakistan, which is relatively new. You know, I mean, if you look at
Yeah, obviously it's just
how you
after the
know.
rush
Yeah,
where
exactly. I mean, when don't forget that when Gandhi freed India, you know, Pakistan was still part of India.
Yeah.
And just after Gandhi failed to unite both the Muslim and the Hindu religious kind of cultures into one country, there was a massive movement of people, from
So yeah, from India to
from India
Pakistan.
to Pakistan,
Mhm.
Muslims going there, but also the other way around. And that really kind of tore up the country and created a new kind of culture which had to be dealt with. And I think Pakistan is quite interesting because, we say you need a strong military leader in Albania that kind of keeps, or a strong man in Albania that keeps
Communism, though,
the cultures,
that it's important that it was a communist
suppressed.
one.
That happens in Pakistan as well.
Yeah, but it
That
wasn't
there's
communism there.
no, 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 no. Exactly. It was.
Yeah, you need communism. That's the one that kills religion. Fascism doesn't. I mean, to some degree in Germany, for example, there wasn't much of a religion wasn't much of a thing. But when it comes to fascism around the world, like in Italy or in Spain, etc., it's not like religion died. So if you want to kill
Yeah.
religion, you have to come me. That's how it works, I guess.
By the way, I'd like to mention that anyone who wants to join in the conversation, you can join Discord on our Forum Gottefunken FG Eurocast channel. You can actually request to speak. So if you want to join in and give us your thoughts on this, so please do. I think as well, if we come back to how a culture here in Europe works, is that the important thing that our governments can do is to make sure that there is no forming of kind of ghetto-like areas that where poverty and religion can interact. Because for some reason, and I'm not sure if you agree with this, there seems to be a link between poverty on one side and the acceptance of religion as as a valid kind of output for that.
Yeah, man, it's. I mean,
I mean, you see it everywhere, like in South America. Religion is still very strong
so
because of the
I don't want to
poor.
make it too much simple
Yeah.
here, but
Hmm.
it's almost like religion is like the you need psychology, but you can't
Yeah.
afford that, so you get religion instead.
So you get religion instead. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I'm somewhat joking, but it's kind of
Mm.
the truth. I think
Yeah.
when you are poor and you need help and you are
Yeah.
living in a desperate situation, it really helps to have religion because it's knowing that you being a good person is going to give you paradise, knowing that bad people are going to pay for it at some
Mm.
point.
Yeah.
It really
There's
helps,
there's a
especially.
point after after the suffering, as it were.
Yeah, so
There's going to be an end, and the end's going to be nice. That's the
and
overarching thing.
there is a point, and you can like look forward to the future, and you know that it's easier to just deal with it. If
Mm.
you believe in religion, it's really easier when it comes
Yeah.
to more traumatic stuff. I mean, even
Mm.
in Europe or whatever, it's
Yeah.
not that. I mean, it can
I mean,
happen
look at
that
the
people get.
banlieues in Paris, that are situated in and around Paris. They're very religious, mostly Islamic, of
Yeah.
course, because they're immigrants and these are ghettos, and cheap housing plus poor people plus religion is banlieue.
The thing though
But
is, there is the like the obvious one, which is the one you're
yeah,
talking about when it's like ghettos, like such as that one.
yeah,
Like and that mostly happens. Like for example, in France, that happens often,
yeah,
or in
yeah, yeah.
Belgium or whatever. Like in those places, it's
Mm.
you often have like parts of the city, like a ghetto, which where there's only Islamic people and they all share that those beliefs, and they live in almost like in a different country of
Mm.
their own, and that's like a big issue that has to be solved somehow. And there is that's like economic issues. There are plenty of issues there. It's not like it's easy to solve that issue they have. But for example, when it comes to Italy, we don't really have as much of a ghetto issue. in itself.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
if you go to Naples or you have
Yeah,
ghettos
exactly.
there,
But
obviously.
that's where exactly. Yeah, but that's the point. I mean, immigrants won't be will always gravitate towards the big cities because that's where
Yes,
the
but
work is.
the thing is, when it comes to France, there is
Mm.
Paris. When it
Yeah.
comes to England, there's London. When it comes
Mm.
to Italy or Germany, there isn't
Yeah.
one big city.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yes, obviously we have the big cities, but it's more we are more distributed. Let's put it that way. And there, it's more, especially Italy, it's more like a provincial life instead of a city
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah,
you,
as someone from a country that is basically a city at the moment, I can't really speak about that. I mean, I live in a town of about 8,000 people, and within 20 kilometers, you're already almost in Antwerp, you're already in Rotterdam.
yes.
It's very close by, to everything.
The thing though
So when you
is,
live somewhere really rural, it's different, and but that's that. I mean, when we're talking about like the clash of cultures, right? I often don't think it's like a clash of cultures. I think it's more like the incidental kind of excesses that you get from it. But in the end, I mean, don't forget that it takes generations for a foreign group to be integrated into a society.
which by the does that the thing is we say, when
Yeah.
you say integrate, do you
Mhm.
mean that because when it comes to multiple cultures, you can
Yeah.
have either multiple cultures living in the same country, or you can have cultures coming integrating in the main culture. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, I'm
So
talking about the actual participation in society.
the thing though is
It's often said,
you want
right?
to convert them in our
Mm,
culture. That's
yeah,
kind of what you want. Obviously, well, we don't care
and
if
that's
they
possible. I
what they
mean,
eat, but when it
yeah,
comes to some things,
yeah,
we
that's
want
very
them.
important to Italians, of
I
course.
mean, yes, we do, but well,
We,
we
we,
are.
we, we, we just say here's a sandwich with cheese. Do with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we can't
Yeah.
accept outsiders
Yeah,
here.
but yeah,
But
exactly. This is why whether your signature look of superiority comes in. Yeah.
yeah, the thing though
Yeah.
is, I wanted to briefly touch on something which is a bit less obvious. As you said earlier, if you went to like in France, there are the banlieues, which is
Yeah.
uh, an obvious problem, and like there it's easier to see the problem there, like to act in a more economic way, because there it's more of an economic issue when it comes to those ghettos. But the issue is, when it comes, for example, the girl where it all started from, it's not like she was living in a ghetto. It's the issue is when you have even in small towns, you have a few Pakistanis that they live far from each other. Like, I mean, as in, it's not a ghetto. There's like a couple in 1,000. If there is a town which has 2,000, 3,000 people, or even like 8,000, whatever,
Mm.
and there are like literally 20 Pakistanis, it's not like they're going to make their own ghetto. The
Yeah.
thing though is, they still manage to isolate themselves, and this is today. Honestly, it's going to be mostly of a um, almost like a feminism issue. Obviously,
Hmm.
it affects men as well from them, but
Yeah.
if you are a woman, it's a lot more obvious the way it
Mm.
affects them. So what you can have often is like a Pakistani family. There is the
Mm.
man which he goes to work and stuff, so it's the one everyone sees. Then there is the woman which is always inside the house and she never leaves and no one ever sees her. And she obviously can't even speak the language because she was always home, and it's not like the husband is going to teach her the language, because if she knew, she could at least ask for help, I guess. And it's not just that. Since the wife, she's living in our country, but inside her house, it's almost like she's in Pakistan. She doesn't know our laws, like her rights here, because how would she? And even if she knows what is she supposed to do, is she supposed to, even for Italians or like an Italian couple, it's hard to for the wife to call the police on the husband.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
even for us, there is a it's an issue. Imagine for her, what is she going to do? Call the police and what? Speaking Pakistani with them because she doesn't know Italian, and she obviously I doubt she knows English either.
Yeah.
And even if
Yeah.
she somehow get a way to communicate with them, then what?
Mm.
Let's say she manages to not be with her husband. Now
Yeah.
she has a man which is, let's be frank here, could very well kill her, like literally kill
Yeah.
her,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
it's not like it's not the way it is here. Like if
Mm.
sometimes a couple doesn't go the way it should be, and then they
Yeah.
just separate. It's
Yeah,
not how it works there.
that doesn't, yeah, exactly, that doesn't exist, you know. That's an honor question, you know.
Yeah,
A question of honor, of family, you know, especially when children are involved, you know, that
and the
becomes a
thing
real
is,
problem.
she can't obviously even ask for the help of her family because
Yeah.
her brothers and sisters and mother or whatever, they would never be okay with that because
Yeah.
they think that she would sully the honor of the family, as you said.
Mm.
And what is she even supposed to do then? How do we help her? And how do
Yeah.
you even
Well, I think that,
how do you even know
again, you
who
know.
needs to be helped? Like the thing
Yeah.
is it considered of us to, for example, what
Mm.
do you do? Do you call the police on a family because you see the wife is never out? So what?
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
what?
I
What
mean,
if she doesn't, you know, tell on the husband? Like if she doesn't ask the police to do something,
mm,
you can't have like the husband be arrested over something that the wife doesn't agree on. That's
yeah.
like, how do you? And this is where I was saying that there is a clash of cultures, even in that sense that how do you even deal with our culture, especially when it comes to people? It's not like everyone is as progressive, but when it comes to at least like the wife shouldn't be subject to abuse,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have a majority of people in Europe agreeing to that.
Yeah.
And even that, how do you even, what do you
How
even
do
do?
you
Like,
change that? Yeah, I think that's I
both
mean,
as a
you know,
as
for
a
first,
person and as
yeah.
a country.
But I think again, you know, I mean, once if you are a first generation immigrant, you know, which means that you came to the country and you intend to create a life there, I think there should be a system in place that takes care of that. You know, I mean, in the Netherlands, there's you know, we don't really have any good contacts between cultures. So what the government has kind of done is it's created you know, a kind of a oversight system where, you know, people do talk with each other, you know, in official settings. And I think, you know, participation in social, you know, culture is very important. You know, if again, if you go out your door, right, and all you see is people that are like you where you come from, right, and you're living in another country, there's something wrong,
Hmm.
right?
But
So I think it's, you know, I mean, in the Netherlands as well, what they've done in, for example, Amsterdam, is instead of having like a street, you know, of houses which are all owned by property owners, some of them are rentals. So you get, you know, a mix of rich and poor people living together, as it were, in one big street. And that seems to kind of work, you know, because then you're you know, when you go out the door, you know, the person who's next to you is you know, of the culture where you're in,
yeah,
you
but
know,
I
and
think you are forgetting the part where
mm,
if you are a Pakistani woman,
mm,
your husband isn't letting you out of the door.
yeah, but then, you know, your neighbors would notice, and your
Yes,
neighbors
and
would
then
call the
what?
police,
And
you
then
know.
what though? What is
Well,
the
they
police
would
going
call
to
the
do?
police, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
that's
what does the
the
police do? They couldn't do anything.
well, yeah, that kind of depends on if the wife's actually there against her own will, you know. That's
Yeah, she isn't against her own will.
yeah,
She's there
but
because
there
that's
will, but for example, then social workers can be involved, and once the social system kind of gets a hold on those families, you know, then more of those families will have the chance. You know, I mean, there will always be cases which we can't solve. There will always be, a psychotic husband who doesn't let his wife out the door,
I mean, it's
or
not like the
you
thing
know,
is, it's not like
yeah,
one psychotic husband. That's the thing. The main
yeah,
issue
yeah.
here. It's not
But that's it.
one
You have to
person.
kind of spread it. I think. I
It's
mean,
that
that's something that could
the whole
work.
culture when it comes to
Yeah.
Pakistan. It's not just that.
Mm.
It spreads to most of the more extreme views on Islam. Is
Mm.
usually husbands are jealous of their wives, but
Yeah.
both in I don't know. It's in a weird way because it's they don't want anyone to see their wives, and
Yeah.
it's like the lives of their wives are fully controlled by the husband.
Yeah.
And as I said, the thing is, it's not one husband which is up psycho
No, no,
because
no. And
obviously
you also get married. And what often happens is that they marry someone in Pakistan and then bring them over.
yeah,
That happens a lot as
and
well.
like for
And
example,
then
let's
that
say
person is completely reliant on the husband. And that
yeah,
should be
that's
that's
the
something
thing.
that we should really look into as a culture. Do we actually allow that to happen?
And even if the thing is, she can't ask for help for like uh, her even her sisters or brothers are not going to,
Mm.
especially the brothers are not going to be really happy with her being against the husband. And as I said, you can literally you can literally end in a murder. The way that that girl, she's most likely dead, and she's most likely been killed by the uncle with approval of the father and the mother. So, uh, like, it's not uh, it's not like you have someone to deal like rely on. And if you
Mm.
don't even have that, like you are,
Yeah.
like let's say
Yeah,
you have
then
been,
there's no hope. I mean,
yeah,
then there's no way of getting out of that,
and
and
that's
that's why I think
the
that should
way
be,
it works for them,
yeah.
though, which is
I think, if we talk, I mean, when we're talking about people that come from a place like Afghanistan, where there's war, or Syria or something, it's a different story. But when we're talking about economic migrants, I don't see a good case for allowing people to bring over family, for example. You're here to work, you're not here to play, as it were. And if you want to integrate, you'll have to go through an integration course. You'll have to live there for 5 years. And as a single person, you'll be much more willing to accept the culture where you are after a while.
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
I don't think that's how it works. I think if you are a single person, what
For
happens is
everyone that's listening, by the way, we have to tell them you're the smart one,
no,
right?
I'm not. I'm not
So
smart.
that's the level we're working at here, right?
So I'll since you said I'm the smart one,
Yeah,
uh,
good.
in a
That's not
bit
how it works. Go on, tell me.
in a bit I'll tell you something I did yesterday, which is going to
Yeah,
let you
shatter my
will
my
show
idea
you
of.
how smart I am, and
Okay. Oh, good.
but I leave it for later.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you people have to stay tuned. And
Oh
if you
man.
stay tuned for the after show, let's call it that way, you
Yeah.
are going to see Tigro as well because Tigro is here today.
Oh.
Other than
Oh.
Chicho, there's Tigro here.
That's Tito. That's your other cat now. You've got two.
Well, it's not my cat; it's my girlfriend's cat. But sometimes he's here.
Ah.
So,
Ah,
and
very
today
nice.
I'm keeping him because he works. He plays with Chicho. They are
Ah,
almost
they're
the same
friends.
age.
Ah, sweet
Tigro is
man.
like 1 or 2 weeks older.
Ah, I want to see pictures, definitely. But let's get back to the, the subject at hand, as it were. I mean, we've talked about the problem that we have, for example, with more extreme countries. But there's plenty of countries where there's Muslim people that can work here.
Yeah,
A good example is, for example, Turkey, Morocco.
I think.
Those groups, and especially I think Algerians in France.
Yeah.
There are problems still with them. But after
Some
a while, there is
Albanians,
kind of an
not all of them, but some
not all of
Albanians.
them, yeah.
The thing though, even when it comes like Turkey, Morocco, Albania, those countries, it really depends on where those people are coming from. So
Mm,
if there are people coming here, and it's most likely people coming from small towns, because if someone already had a rich life, they are not going to leave their
mm,
country. But
yeah.
when it comes, usually if it's someone coming from the smaller towns, they are going to have a more uh, backways culture. But
Yeah.
if it's someone coming like from Ankara, for example, or from Istanbul, whatever, it's probably going to be more similar to us compared from a Turkish from a small town in the far east
Yeah.
of Turkey. So there, even then, it's as always, it's not, even if we say like Turkey or Albania,
Mm.
every country is huge. I mean, it has regions in itself which are different, and then even if inside that region you can have people which are different from what you would expect. So it's always like you can't generalize too much, but but yeah, there are some countries which is easier to find people which have uh, more Western like views.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think that also matters. I mean, we're talking about a difference in culture that is extreme in that case. Southern Asia versus the kind of more the European cultures, and
Hmm.
the more Mediterranean cultures, as it
Yeah,
were.
that's why it
Yeah,
helps, I think, to some degree.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like for
exactly.
example, if you get, for example, in Albania,
Yeah,
they grow up consuming our media, like Italian media
yeah,
or European media. Anyways, same
mm,
thing. I think when it comes to Morocco, Turkey, they have they are more close to us,
mm,
as in even as the media they consume. Meanwhile, if you are in Pakistan, it's like a
yeah.
whole different world.
The
With that said,
whole different world, exactly.
let's change our word by having Jack here
Ah,
Yeah,
join us.
finally. I was waiting for you to end your talk because like, I mean, I have a respect to all of you, so I was just waiting.
yeah,
I wanted to add that the main problem of the freaking mm, like clash of the cultures in Europe that you have people from example, I don't know, from some Middle East countries or from African countries when they going like I don't, I don't know how to say because if they have war in in their country like in their motherland, I think it's like semi-illegal because if, for example, war is ended and they still trying to come to Europe
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
to
different kind of immigrant, is what you're saying.
yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
if you have countries that like is dilapidated, yeah, it's okay, but why you going to Europe? You can just restore your country because if it's war, it makes sense because you can't go back to your home, for example, because it could be bombed
Yeah, exactly.
or something else.
That's exactly where you don't want to be at that point. And I kind of know because I've got a Syrian immigrant family living down the block here, and they really try their best to kind of integrate. They're like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
not, I'm there's no way, I'm going back there right now because it's fucked up, and I'll have to go and fight for Assad and all that.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah, no,
is,
no, no, thanks. So they really do their best. I mean, the guys
but on
playing
the
the
other hand,
football and
you
yeah,
have immigrants that
mhm,
just came
yeah,
with no like they don't know language, they don't know
mm,
anything about culture.
yeah.
They came they just trying to ruin the freaking uh
Well,
the
I
not the
think
mechanism of the
yeah.
country but
Well,
sociology or something
yeah,
like that because the country is mixing not like so much mixing, but they came with their own culture and spread it across. But they don't think about consequences that could came because, for example, if you will took some I don't know some African immigrants, for example, they will just cover not the district, but the district that they came to. They don't trying to assimilate with a normal district.
Mm.
They doing all of the stuff that they have done in their own like small town village. It's no matter because as Dante has said before, that people who came from the big towns, like I don't know, the capitals of the towns, like from Ankara and so on, they know about normal culture, normal behavior, and so on. But people who are trying to come from I don't know from small village on the
Mm.
edge of the freaking
They don't know. The
country,
only thing they want to do is basically make money, you know. And then they come to Europe. I think what happens
not
is, you know,
they
well,
even maybe they want to make money, maybe
mm,
not, but
yeah,
mostly like when I was in Europe,
mm,
particularly in Italy, in Genoa,
yeah,
uh, it was so freaking strange compared to Spain, for example, or to Czechia or Czech Republic,
mm,
because there was a like not a district but the street where was a lot of immigrants, and they basically do nothing. They just I don't know staying and watching on you and doing nothing. I think
mm,
you have to uh not you have to uh they should assimilate with normal people, because if they wanted to stay there,
yeah,
they should work at least, because if they won't work, if they think, oh, you have free Europe, we can came and
yeah, exactly,
hopefully
yeah,
not ruin it,
yeah,
like it was with Rome, which I really don't want it to be what was what did barbarians to Rome.
yeah,
I hope it
yeah.
won't happen to Europe,
No,
because
no, no.
it's possibly I can live there.
Yeah.
So
No, but the thing is, right?
you
I mean, what they do here in the Netherlands is quite clever, I think. What they make sure that if you want to get money off the state, you have to show that you have worked, that you're looking for work. You know,
yes, that you
so
have skills, for
yeah,
example,
yeah.
to
Not only that, but you know, I mean, even if you don't have skills, you have to look for work. You know, I mean,
you like
you're here for
your wish,
for a
you have
reason.
in
You
your
know,
mind that
fucking
you
show
wanted
it.
to work,
And
that
if
you
you
wanted
don't,
to.
then you get cut your money cut. You know,
I
and then you
think
can't do anything. Basically,
it's the way
yeah.
that way it works. And if it
Most places, yeah,
yeah, in most of Europe it's that way. But
yeah,
the thing is, there's some money you get, which is while you work, wait for work. Like if you're looking
yeah,
for a job,
Yeah.
meanwhile they pay you something. But then
yeah,
there is, for example, the money they give you because you have 3 kids, so you pay less on stuff, or they
yeah,
help
yeah,
you
yeah,
on other
yeah, yeah,
stuff. So,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
they're not going to cut that because you're not looking for a work. Because
yeah,
why would the kids suffer over that?
mm,
So,
yeah,
it's always a bit more complicated than that.
yeah.
It's
That's
not.
true. That's
It's not.
true. I mean,
And
but
I
even
think
then, it's
this
not like
yeah, I
work
mean,
is the.
but there's definite pressure, you know, for people to start working,
Yeah,
and I
but
think that's very important, you know, to keep up. And I think
yeah,
you know
because
you can't you know when you have a society which is as rich and as prosperous as the EU is, you know, and um, there will always be people that are gravitate towards that for nefarious reasons, if that's just leeching off the state or taking advantage of a certain ruling that the EU has. We'll always have those, and I don't think it's really possible to really weed them out. I mean, you can't really detect someone's intentions, when they're at your border. But I think most European countries are now doing a reasonable job of taking care of that.
yeah,
So I
I
think,
think
yeah, yeah,
uh, okay. I think that this semi-legal immigrants,
mhm,
because
yeah,
I like it two way. I think that Europe should not cut the money that they give to them, but I think they should do it like before you find job, or you will be not maybe if situation in a country is kind of okay. Yeah, Europe could just send them back, because
yeah,
I mean that's so strange. Uh, well, you can immigrate in Europe if
mm,
you, for example, have um, you reach to work and so on. But if you want to just stay and taking free money from European system.
Yeah.
I think it's not so. Okay, it's a bit clever from their side, but
Yeah.
it's not so.
Yeah,
It's
but
not so
I mean,
good.
sending them back is the problem, really. I mean, for example, Morocco does not accept returnees from, that are Moroccan.
Only
So
one side.
it's only one side. So how do you pressure them? There's all these things involved. And
Uh,
for example, in the Netherlands, we have that problem. A lot of Moroccan people come here,
oh, really?
stay here without a visa, and then don't return because Morocco doesn't take their citizens back. The Netherlands has been trying to pressure Morocco, but at the same time, Spain has a deal with Morocco, and Italy has to deal with Morocco, and there's all these other things involved, so nothing ever gets done. So I don't think
Well,
we can really solve it by sending them back, because there's only a few that you can really get that to.
yeah,
That's the problem, really.
You're sending few back, but then you have more on your border.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
like a trade.
I think I mean, as clash of cultures go, I think the only solution really is to start integrating people more,
Yeah,
and I
I
mean,
agree with it.
as people start voluntarily being part of a political system, and going into the military voluntarily, and working for hospitals voluntarily, you have a
Yeah, it's
connection with
actually a good
society,
way.
And that's kind of how you have to develop it. You have to encourage the people that
But
that want to make it work.
when you say voluntarily, do you mean like the Uyghurs in China?
No, no, no. No, I'm talking about here in Europe. I
They
mean, we
are
don't.
they are being
Yeah,
integrated in voluntarily
yeah,
measures.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
there's levels of integration, of course. I mean, if it really doesn't work out, then yeah, of course, I mean, you should discourage people from coming. I think, but
Yeah,
how
it
do you do
doesn't
that?
work. You don't
That
discourage
doesn't
people
work.
from coming here.
Exactly.
We are rich.
You can't. Yeah.
That's
And they're not.
that's all there is to
Actually,
it.
I wanted to add one moment that we right now you should be really like uh we have right now in Russia. It's not non the news, but anyway, we have up rate of COVID cases right now.
Yeah.
So like, be prepared to have new wave. I don't
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because we have today 13,000, and yesterday we had 12,000. Maybe
Wow. Yeah.
like tomorrow we will have 14,000. So be prepared to it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. As well, the British, switching over to to COVID as a subject. The British, the Dutch state has banned British visitors now because of the D variant, the Delta variant, which is in the UK. So it's going to be a hard slog still. I think people still aren't seeing that it's not over yet.
I
And I think
like
that
that.
also kind of goes into the whole immigration thing.
So is
I
that how
don't
you
think many
keep
people will.
the English out? That's the
Yeah.
excuse you're using. You don't want them, so you say, "Oh, it's COVID." That's why we
Yeah,
don't want
it's
you.
COVID. Yeah, but I mean, fair enough. Oh, cool. But I think when we're talking about immigration issue, I think that also carries into it. COVID is making travel
Yeah,
now extremely difficult, and I think that means that what we're seeing right now is only a trickle compared to what we'd usually have. Um,
yeah.
and now
Basically, I
as it
felt
were,
this
maybe
myself.
manageable,
So
at some level. But if it increased, I think Europe would definitely want to put some kind of check in, or what they're doing right now is actually investing in Africa a lot. So immigration centers in Central Africa, instead of having them make the difficult trek,
Yeah, but you
paid
know the issue, right?
smugglers. Sorry.
The issue is that even if we
Yeah.
we go towards having better ways for people to come to Europe,
Yeah.
like legal ways, and if you can manage, the idea is you should have migration be managed, which
Yeah.
doesn't mean either opening the border or closing the border, because that's not how the world works.
No.
It's not like there is a border to open or to close. That's not how it works. And the thing is, you need to manage migration. and
Yeah.
they should, and there is something to consider. And if you have migration to manage, that means you have migrants to manage, and that means you have to know how to deal with people that come from all around the world. And you are going
Yeah.
to have people that come from war. There are people that come from poverty, because it's not like, for example, obviously there are like those that like leech of the state, but I would imagine most people don't want to just leech
No.
of this. If even those that like leech of the state, if they have the choice between doing that and having a high-paying job and a good life,
Yeah.
it's not like they wouldn't choose that. It's not like
Exactly.
we are talking about people. It's not like they are doing the most obvious things to do. It's there is an issue in how our societies works, how we can give a job to people that might not be ready for our job market because maybe their skills aren't needed or we don't have ways to use them. So it's always a
Yeah,
lot more
there's also
complicated.
don't forget there's also a difference between the acceptance of educational you know types of education which go on. So if you come from a country such as Mauritania, and you got your high school diploma and a college diploma, that might not be worth anything in
Or
Europe.
Russia, you know.
So you have to, yeah, or Russia, or any country
Yeah.
really outside the EU.
So
So that makes it really kind of hard
the thing though
to
is we don't really
to
have. I mean, it's not like we don't have anything at all, but and this is a cost by the way. So there is a reason why we don't manage these things as well as we could, because if you want to manage, that's a cost, and it's harder to explain a cost
yeah.
over not doing anything and that letting things be the way they are. But for
Yeah.
example, if you were talking about someone from Russia and they have a diploma, or like maybe they are like a doctor in Russia or something, they are not going to have the same qualifications we need here, obviously. But you
Yeah.
could maybe retrain them or have them do something like a course or something, and maybe a doctor can become a nurse. I don't know. Like I don't even know what would they learn in Russia compared to here, and if that how that applies to the job they would need to do here, for example. Like I have no idea how, for example, in that field works. But especially when it comes to other fields as well, have them do I don't know, like for example, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, instead of having to do the whole thing from start, because they should have know already something,
Yeah.
and like go from there, for example. So there could be ways to integrate those that are more educated, and then when it comes to those that are less educated, you would need to find a way to give a job to them as well. For example, you earlier said you saw people in Genova not working and stuff. It's not like they can do much. Even Italians don't find work. So I don't see how they would find anything to do, to be honest, for
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
example.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Especially right now, we have COVID.
yeah.
And there are literally, when it comes to younger people, the people that are employed is the number is really high, and it's not easy to find a job for an Italian. How would someone from another country that doesn't have qualifications, neither does know the language, what are they even supposed to do? It's not always like, I know it's easy to think that they just want to leech off the state, and sometimes it's not like there aren't people that are just like that. Obviously, there are all kinds of people. But when you are in a situation where that's the only thing you can do, or simply even if the alternative is so much harder, and for example, why would you go look for a job knowing that no one wants to even give you a job? For example,
Yeah.
the thing is, you want people, immigrants, to work, but we don't want immigrants because they steal our jobs. So do you want them to
Yeah.
work or do you want them to not work? The
I
thing,
mean, don't forget that. I mean, it's kind of to work. I mean, don't forget that the job market is untransparent, which means that you can't. Not every job is equal. There will only be so many menial jobs, but there will also be a lot of jobs. If you have a little bit of a skill as a baker, for example, you can probably get because there's a lack of bakers at the moment, or drivers, or those kind of things, But it doesn't require qualifications. Those qualifications are really hard to get. I mean, in the Netherlands, to get a driver's license costs upwards of €1,000. Where do you
Yeah.
get that money from?
Do you do you have the
Especially
state do that?
when you're. Huh?
Do you,
Well, I mean, isn't it a solution? Having more of a social system to go towards that. I think that would be a good thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Like I think and this is where I said it is a clash of cultures, and
Mm,
and we need to manage that clash. And I
yeah.
don't think it's like obviously I had a bit of a extreme title because that's how you do things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the thing though is it's not like it's more or less like there's a crisis. Let's put it that way. You can either manage it to become even better, or you can succumb to it. And for example, as you said earlier, if you have uh, some jobs that, like some positions that are there, like there is the need for a baker or a driver,
Yeah,
let's say a driver, which is easier.
yeah, yeah,
And you need all you need to be a driver at the end of the day is just having a driver license. It's not like you need
yeah,
to have
yeah,
that much more than that.
yeah.
I think you could have the state pay for that and then maybe get back something from your return as tax
Yeah,
money for
exactly.
a year
Or
because it's not
it's a
like
loan, or
yeah.
it's an investment. Actually, I mean, once someone takes part in society, he will come into contact with thousands of people that are different from him
I mean,
and have different
just
norms and values, and
I
that
mean
will change the
even
the equation, at least in most families. I mean,
even as
the
an
psycho who doesn't let his wife out of the door. Yeah, okay. I don't. I think that
though
would
now
require
there's the next thing
social
though.
services to be involved. You know what I mean?
Who should
That
have
would that would.
priority? A Dutch
Mm,
person or some
yeah,
a EU person or someone outside of the EU for such position?
yeah,
Let's say
yeah,
there
yeah,
are I don't know 100 like let's say there are 10 jobs
yeah,
driver jobs in your town,
yeah.
and it's not like there aren't Dutch people that need a job because
Mm,
there probably are.
yeah.
And do they get them before the immigrants or not?
Well, the thing is that the Dutch people are already in a more in such a privileged position that they will have the jobs, and the
Not
question is, of
not
course,
necessarily though, because
yeah,
I mean it's not like there
the
aren't.
this,
I mean I don't know
mm,
enough about the Netherlands, but most of
yeah,
Europe, it's not like we don't have our own poor people, especially in
yeah,
some
yeah,
parts
yeah.
of.
That's true. Yeah.
Especially if you go to like in France, sure there are the banlieues where there are immigrants which are poor, but it's
Mm.
not like there aren't French people that are poor as
No,
well.
no, no, no. Of course, I'm not saying that's not the case, but
So
it's
do
easy.
you?
It's easier to get out of that trap than it is in, for example, for an immigrant to do,
Uh,
as it were.
it like
It's
it
it's a
is.
trap. You start as it were. Poverty is a trap.
Yeah, I mean, it
So,
is like I would say it is easier like just because of, for example, the language, which obviously
mm,
helps, but it's not that much easier because I don't know, like if you are someone living in Naples in like one of the a bad part of Naples where there is
yeah,
criminality, there is people like they are in the drunket and stuff. It's not that easy to get out of that, especially if you don't have outside help. So, and you have to remember that usually poor people, uh, it's harder for them to get even higher educations because what are they supposed to go to school and instead of working and when especially do the parents can they even afford for you to go to university or even if when it's like free and stuff it's
yeah,
still someone that there are still costs associated
yeah.
even if the
I mean,
university
that's
itself
why
is free.
retraining. I mean, especially what happens often is people lose because let's say you've got a low end job, that it's very hard to retrain for another job once you've done it. For people, that's why I think it's also really important to retrain people. For different things and have the social care system involved. I think I think that's the key. Many people
Become
just
me.
see this as one
That's the
big
key.
problem.
The key is to
But
become me.
it's
The key is to
Right?
become communist. Have
Yeah,
a communist
communist.
a communist society where everyone has a job from the state, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how it
exactly. You
works.
know.
Well, you could have socialism because communism isn't like possible
Yeah,
to reach.
Yeah, I mean same
Even
thing.
Soviet Union
yeah, it was
just
socialist.
couldn't
Exactly.
done
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was socialist, but actually it was semi-capitalist
Mm.
at the starting of it. I believe in the 40s or 50s, people still have had to pay for school, for example.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, if I'm right,
Mm.
because I think yeah, in the 60s, it was like replaced with a free education, which is yeah, it's good. But I mean, social system is super. I mean, you have to have it.
Yeah,
So basically, most of the countries should be like partly socialism
mm.
countries.
Yeah.
I
I think
can't
so.
say
You know,
that
I mean,
it
um,
it shouldn't be fully, but
mm.
look at Sweden, for example. It has socialism, but in my opinion, it's too much of it. I
No,
Mm.
mean,
Sweden
it
isn't
should be.
socialist. That's Sweden is far from socialist. It's as capitalist as you can get.
Well, I mean, yes and
I
no,
mean,
because the
it
state
has
has
some
certain
social
functions.
institute.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think you know in Europe we really try to split the business world from what the government does. For example, you know we can all agree that for when it comes to
Do we?
broadband, you know it's very good to have competition.
Do we
But
though? Do
at the same
we?
time,
I don't think
the
we do.
cables that are under the ground is something that you know has to be managed by the municipality, for example. You know,
Yeah,
because the
but
municipality
do we
can.
really let the free market do its thing? Because we
No, no,
don't.
no.
We
I
really
mean,
don't.
no,
Because if there is a company
no.
which
It's
is going
managed. You
under,
know, it's managed capitalism.
if it has
What we
like
do.
yeah, we have an hybrid system, we have social democracy. That's what we have.
Mm,
And I mean, if you are France and someone
yeah,
tries to buy your company, a French company,
yeah,
you say no because it's a French company. So that's not really free market. If you have a company which is going under because for
yeah,
whatever reason, you don't really allow it to die because there are people working there, and then you have
mm,
like 10,000 people without a job. What do you do?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
so might as well just pay that company to still be alive.
Mm,
If there is a bank which does stuff, you give them money because you
yeah,
can't afford the bank to die.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So I
what you're
mean,
saying is it's yeah, yeah. It is managed capitalism, as it were.
yeah, exactly. We
Yeah,
do
yeah,
we do stuff
yeah.
in ways. And then you can
But you
be
know, I mean,
for
becoming an
example,
immigrant in that situation is a really hard thing, you know. And I think that most people in for example, if you're Italian, you have a bigger chance of getting a job. Yes, hello, my cat's here, by the way. She wants
Tigros
something
one.
from me.
Tigro is here.
Hello. I have a cat. I have a black cat called Small, and she's very sweet. She's 14 years old now.
Is she small
I
though?
think yeah, she's very small. Yeah, yeah,
I have a big Norwegian cat.
yeah. Ah,
Not big, but anyway.
we should set up a forum got a fucking cat page. You know, that's what we
Yeah.
should do.
So since when it comes to this topic, I think there is so much more to discuss, and we can
Yeah,
discuss more
definitely.
in later days. Because as I said earlier, it is to make things easier for us as people. It's easier to see things as boxes, like issues, different issues. But obviously, we live in complex societies where each box, as it were, is linked and intertwined with other issues, other
Yeah,
boxes, and one issue
exactly.
is made of other issues, which then make that issue worse. And I mean, everything is connected. It's easier
There's
to.
no simple solutions, basically. You know, that's
I mean, what we
the
do.
maxim. Again, we come to this conclusion every week, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, there are no simple solutions to what we discuss. It always starts off with, you know, I've got an idea. You know, is
yeah.
there a simple solution? And the answer is always no.
Yeah, I mean, even like the some of the let's say solutions we proposed tonight, which aren't really solutions, like they're more like ideas. Even then, there are costs associated with stuff that you need to do, and then it's always, when it comes to money, it's never like, I mean, if you had infinite money, you would spend them, obviously, on everything. But you have a budget, and you have, what is it better to integrate immigrants because you don't want the Pakistani wife to have
Yeah, or
a
spend
bad,
it on Frontex or
or spend it,
border
well,
guards
even like,
or
let's
you
say, for
know.
example, on healthcare. Do you want,
Mm.
what is it more important for your citizen to not die because their hospital is in shambles? Or is it
Yeah.
more important to keep uh, human rights and have someone be able to flee from her husband, for example? Like, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you have to decide. Even
Yeah,
if
exactly.
it's not like, I obviously I went with the hospital because like it's the usual, like, think of the children,
It's
think of the
I
essentials.
mean,
think of the
especially
and then
now.
the NHS, you know, if you leave the EU,
Yeah.
the NHS gets more money. So I mean, it's, but the thing is, it is that, like, it is somewhat true. Like, when it comes to
Yeah.
money, the it's not, there are wastes because we waste a lot of money. It would be
Yeah.
really nice if we didn't, but it's still like a balance to achieve. Like, you would need
Yeah,
to
exactly.
decide,
I think that's it.
if you
And I
pay
think
something here,
when
you leave, you cut something there. Like, there
yeah, yeah.
isn't a solution where everything gets the money. And
Yeah, the problem is, of course, that when immigration rises, you have to spend more money, which you maybe have already, can't afford to not spend on hospitals,
yeah,
and that
exactly.
becomes a problem. And I think that's why the EU should pull much more together on this.
Hmm.
I know, for example, that they've started the Social Europe idea now under the Portuguese presidency. We'll see, of course, what the Slovenian presidency brings. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Um, and that is by power charging the social systems on a European level, making sure that there are minimum standards that everyone can have, because there are states in the north who don't have that problem and have a little bit more money to spend.
Well,
I
do
mean,
they?
yeah, we do.
No, no. I mean, I was thinking when I said in the north, I was
I
thinking, for
mean,
example, the
yeah.
Scandinavians one, like in the Nordics.
Yeah,
Even
okay, but
that,
they
like,
don't
if
they
you
don't
watch
get
it,
they don't get immigrants, do they? They don't get as many immigrants as, for example, Italy does
yeah,
from the
they
Mediterranean.
get less
Yeah,
immigrants, and they still
yeah,
have those issues of immigrants not
yeah.
integrating, even if they spend the money to make them
Yeah, okay,
integrated.
but that'll always be, I think, but but the more social we get, the more social workers are involved,
The
the
thing is,
more
I agree.
chances we give them to get that driver's license, the
I
better.
I agree to some, like,
Yeah,
I agree that you need to spend money to manage. I
yeah,
don't think anyone has done it the way it's supposed to be done. And I'm not saying that I know the way it's supposed to be done. I'm not saying
mm,
that. And
no, no,
it's not like easy or whatever. But even when you see it, if you see Sweden, for example, it's not like they are doing
mm,
great when it comes to managing migration. Or if you see Denmark, they don't really like migrants either, for example, even if they are supposed to be
mm,
social. So
yeah.
it's not, and even in Sweden, like, their right-wing party is getting,
Getting more and more
uh,
grip on votes,
yeah.
anti-immigrant. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And when it
exactly,
comes to
Oh,
exactly.
really?
Denmark,
Yeah.
they closed their borders with Germany because immigrants.
Mm,
I don't know if they opened them back. I
Look
don't
at
know.
Hungary.
mm,
Look what they did. They like building second wall.
mm.
I believe in Serbia
Yeah,
or somewhere against immigrants.
yeah, and same
They
thing with
probably gonna have
Bulgaria
any problem.
and Greece, of course. They're building fences as well, and I could kind of get it. I mean, and Fortress Europe is a very attractive idea as well. I think
Doesn't really
that's
do
also
anything
something
though.
that no, no, of
Even
course
if you
not.
had Fortress Europe from tomorrow, and let's start from saying that it doesn't work. That it doesn't.
Yeah,
It's not how the world works. You can't. Even if you tried to, people are always going to try
yeah.
find a way to come here, because we are one of the most
We are rich,
rich
and exactly, we're a big
places in
magnet.
Earth.
We're very lucky, by the way, that Britain has left the EU. Again, thank you, Britain, for leaving the EU. um, because
Hopefully, Scotland will be back.
it's still a very very attractive place for people to
Yeah,
emigrate to because of the
but
language.
even let's
Um,
pretend for some way, like, by a like with magic, no
yeah,
one can come here anymore. We still
Yeah.
have lots of people in here to deal with. We have
Yeah.
people that are here illegally. There are the people that are here legally. There are people that are in legally waiting to know if they can stay here or not. Because, for example, if someone comes here, can take 3-4 years before we know if they can stay or not, for example. So we have plenty of people to deal with already. So it's not like Fortress Euro is going to fix the issues we already have. It at most what it does is limit the number of people that is going to come here later, but
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
going to fix what we already have. And then there's the issue that we need people to come here. If you look at Italy, we are in a decline when it comes to the number of people that are born here. So we need people to come from outside to
Yeah.
pay our pensions. So it's not like it's that easy.
Yeah. Exactly. You do need them, and that's the thing.
Look
I think.
at Japan. Like even them,
Yeah.
like they are starting to getting migrants from East Asia now
From
because
Brazil, and exactly, there's a lot of Brazilians, funnily enough, in
for
Japan. So,
some reason
it's
I don't know why, to be
for some
honest.
reason, it's
But there are like lots of
probably, just a direct ship line, and
and you have like
we need 50,000 immigrants. Yeah, we'll just put 50,000 people on the
yeah,
boat.
but the thing is, the government which started, and this is like something that happened just a few years ago. It's not like something that happened long ago. Our right-wing government, which was under Shinzo Abe, so someone that still doesn't say sorry for what Japan did in World War II.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that, we
exactly.
are talking about almost like a literal fascist, pretty much. I mean, I would call him a fascist since he doesn't think what
Yeah.
Japan did was wrong. So I think that qualifies as a fascist for me. And even that, even someone like him, that I'm sure he hates anyone that is from outside Japan. Like I'm quite
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
exactly,
I'm sure
yeah.
he doesn't want
Even,
to see Japan full of people from the Philippines or China or whatever. Like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is the case. Even then, he still had to make laws to make so people can come to Japan from those places because Japan is aging and it needs people to pay the pensions.
Exactly, I mean,
It's not something you can
that's
escape
it.
from.
Yeah.
You either are
Yeah,
Germany,
exactly.
which
And
gets
and of course,
points.
And
the more prosperous a
isolation mode.
country,
Good
yeah,
one.
we're seeing that here as well. I mean, the more prosperous a country, the more expensive it is to raise a child.
Exactly.
So in the Netherlands, for example, and in Germany as well, less children are being born because it's just an expensive business.
You
Yeah,
know what?
actually,
The
this
thing
one.
is, we are used to since we had a standard of living when we grew up, and we want our kids to have at least the same, if not better. I mean, you always want them to have a better life, right?
Yeah,
So you are not going to have to make like 5 kids, 3 kids, whatever, if you can't afford that, and you can't because you can't. But if you're coming from Pakistan or whatever, you already lived in poverty. So if you have
yeah,
5 kids living in poverty in the Netherlands, that poverty
yeah,
in the Netherlands is still richer than what they had in back home.
yeah,
So it's still a better
yeah,
life. So
exactly.
it
It's,
kind of
it's still a much better life. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it makes sense to
Although,
make that many
although I
kids.
must say the weather's probably a lot worse.
But
Yeah.
even then, for example, if you see, you can just do one generation later, and the number of kids that people make is so much
Yeah,
slower. Even like second generation, they're going to give you like 1 or 2 kids. They're not
yeah,
going to
yeah,
do
exactly. Yeah.
the 5 kids stuff, and it's not going to happen anymore. So and that's why you need always people coming from outside. You can't expect those that come to keep doing like lots of kids because I mean, it's not a cultural thing there. It's literally economics. If you are living in Italy, in the Netherlands or whatever, having kids is expensive, and if you want them to have a decent life, it is really expensive. So there is a limit to how many kids you can have. It's like literally you look at your wage and you can know how many kids you can afford. So
Yeah, exactly.
if you want to have 3 kids, the wage you need to have is not, there isn't a wage that can afford 3 kids, unless you
Yeah.
are Ursula von der Leyen. I mean, she can, but other than that, most people can't afford 3 kids.
No,
or
no,
if not,
exactly.
even two is really hard, and
I mean,
that's like,
ideally, you just like a factory where you could just print out kids. You know, I mean, that would be really nice.
yeah.
It'll
But you
be
just, you
too
know,
pricey to
I
do.
need 12 kids.
I mean, we could
You
do
know,
that in theory.
yeah,
So let's
yeah,
go in theory crafting. You could have,
yeah,
I mean, we already have sperm banks, so we have the
yeah,
sperm. You can
yeah,
have egg banks as well. Then you can
yeah,
have them grow up in a lab, and you have
yeah.
kids. You made kids.
Yeah, you made kids, and then you just, you know, you train them, and you know, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Actually,
the solution. You know, close all
it
the
makes
borders
sense,
and do
but
that. Yeah.
not for nowadays world, probably.
No.
No, 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 no. There's just no way. You know.
So there you go,
I mean,
guys. Foreign Gotterfunken found the solution to immigration. You
Yeah,
just make
that's it.
kids inside of
Yeah,
labs.
inside a factory, yeah. Like on Camino in Star Wars. You know, it's
I mean,
Yes.
I think making kits in the factories could be useful if you like colonize new planet
yeah,
on
exactly. You know.
in the space.
But here,
So we're
no.
flying
You
to Mars
know.
with it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, that's a good way. Hey, let's end the subject there because we still only we have about I see 30 minutes to go.
And
So I'd like to talk about something else before
yeah,
we go on.
so
That's what's
before
going
we
on.
do that, we can
Yeah,
start saying thank you to Jack, and
yeah. Thanks, Jack.
if you
You
want to,
know,
you
Yeah,
can.
nice of you to
appreciate it.
drop in tonight. It was a pleasure.
Oh, how does it even work here? I have not. I mean, you can do that yourself. I have no idea how you how you move people to audience. Anyways, thanks for helping us tonight here because we are stupid,
Yeah,
so we always need more people to help us.
yeah,
And uh, I said earlier I was going to explain why I'm not smart, why I'm stupid. You know, yesterday there was
yes.
there was Italy playing against Turkey,
Turkey.
and
Yes.
around late in the night I had to wait. I had an appointment. I had to wait outside, and there were other people there, and there was a TV. When Italy scored, I went. I kind of screamed a little. As you know when you say yes, but not this way, and then
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, sorry." So that's the smart you can expect from me.
Oh,
That's the kind of
yeah,
person I
yeah,
can be. Like I
yeah.
even the thing is it was like outside of a doctor and stuff. So people there like everyone not making any sound and stuff. And then there's
Yeah,
me
yeah. So
going, "Fuck
yes.
yeah, fuck you, Turkey."
I must say, you know, after that first goal yesterday, you know, that was it. You know, I kind of knew that Turkey just wasn't up to what Italy was doing, you know, because that first goal was just beautiful.
Yeah.
The Italian player, can you remind me of his name, for the first scorer? That was,
The first score that I don't know. It was a Turkish one.
yeah, yeah. No, but one of your players shot the ball so hard that it bounced off him into the
Yeah,
goal, you know? And I
yeah.
thought, you know,
But
there's no way that Turkey can match this, you know?
I mean, the thing is, even before that, Turkey was doing literally nothing the whole game. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, exactly. It was just Italian domination, you
the,
know. We were
the,
just sitting there laughing.
I mean,
Oh
people
gosh.
said, someone I know said, so why are they always there? So I said, don't worry, I think they parked the bus there inside in
Yeah,
front
yeah,
of
yeah,
their.
yeah.
They were
I
not
mean, the
there.
Turks at the beginning did try to kind of put up a wall, you know, and that was, you know, it was very hard for the Italians to get through, you know, in the first half.
Yeah,
But in the second half, it just, you know, it kind of collapsed. They
yeah,
just went,
because
okay, well,
the thing
yeah,
is, Italy is doing a somewhat different game to what it usually
yeah,
does, and it's really tiring to keep up with them.
yeah,
Italy, like it makes you run a lot, which means in the
yeah,
second
exactly.
half it's going to be really hard to
Really hard to
uh,
keep up and
keep up.
you know, keep
And
that
when
energy up.
yeah, and when it comes to having a goal like that, it's really. I mean, there is the physical factor, but the psychological factor is there a lot. So you
Yeah,
have to always be on alert. And
yeah,
once you like they have the goal, and once you are that way, like you lose
The will to live.
No, it's not even just that. Even if you try, it's not. You can't get again into that mindset of being on fully alert and having everything check on everything, because that's tiring mentally, and it's not easy to do if you are not in the right mindset. And getting back into it after they score a goal, it's not
Yeah.
easy.
No, no,
That's
no, definitely
something,
not.
uh, and there are some good players on their side in Turkey,
Yeah.
but it's not like all of them. So, and that's something that only if you play, for example, in European
Yeah, that you
tournament,
have that you get then
you
yeah,
get that
because
because you
it's
lost.
a very competitive field in
Yeah,
Europe,
you,
that
you
does
need.
help.
Yeah, it's something you need to have experience to be able to deal with that. To even then, even like great players still have issues with that. It's not easy. So, and it was Turkey against Italy in Italy. I mean, fuck you. We were going to win.
Yeah, there was no chance. I mean, speaking of games, I mean, today it was Switzerland-Wales, which was 1-1, and of course, what happened with the Danish player Christian Eriksen on the
Yeah,
field tonight was, was very shocking, to be honest. I don't know, were you watching the game at all?
I couldn't watch it because I wasn't home. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know what
Yeah, when that
happened.
happened, I mean, I was watching the feed on my phone, and it's like game stopped. Christian Eriksen collapsed. It was quite shocking, to be honest. And when you see the pictures of it, which I encourage everyone to kind of have a look at in the Euro 2020 hot topic on the Forum Gottefunken, where he gets the ball and he just collapses, and the players around him first don't really realize. They think, what's going on, the game's kind of stopped, and then it kind of hits them and they go, oh my god, he's actually in real trouble. He gets a heart massage
Yeah,
from the medics, and the Danish players try to kind of shield him from the media for that. And it's a real drama, to be honest. What happened there on the pitch tonight. I think
he
it,
he's
it really
conscious again.
overshadowed today. Even during the Russia Belgium game, which just finished basically with Russia getting beaten soundly
I
on
mean,
home turf 3-0 by Belgium.
to be fair, Belgium is
That doesn't
really.
really that doesn't count. I mean, after a day like that, where a player
Sorry.
basically, I hope, you know, I mean, he's out of hospital now. He's out of danger now.
Yeah.
But still, that really changes things, doesn't it? So, tomorrow will be interesting as well.
Yeah, the Euro.
Every
The
day,
Euro
every
was
day is
nice.
something new at Euro 2020. So I also encourage everyone who's listening, also
And
on Twitch,
I'm going to say something
to
here, which is going to
yeah,
be controversial.
go
I
on.
think uh, it's hard to say, but I think the Euros are better than the World Cup. It's better than World Cup.
I think so. Yeah,
The thing is, in the World Cup you have. I mean, in the Euros you don't have Argentina and those countries there, so
yeah,
it's a shame that we don't have them. But you don't have those useless games like Italy or I don't know, like France against a small country in
yeah.
the in
Kuala Lumpur
Oceania.
or something, yeah.
Like the thing is, if you had the World Cup and you remove
Yeah,
Asia and
yeah.
North America, and
Ah, yeah, yeah.
you had
Okay.
the World Cup, which is literally just Europe, South
Yeah,
Africa, and Africa. Say yeah, South Africa, South America and Africa.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it would be far better. And even in Africa, it's just some of them. It's not like all of them.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing.
I
I
think
mean,
Africa, we can keep Africa because they're
we should
nice.
have a Eurovision for football, is what you're saying.
The thing is, when it comes to World Cup, since each continent has to be there, and some continents get more spots because obviously Europe gets more spots, but
Yeah,
you have like the East. When it comes to Asia,
yeah,
why do they even try?
yeah.
You have boring games then. That's not. It's not
Yeah,
far.
does Schiff does mention that Germany did lose to South Korea in the last World Cup, but let's also remember Das Schiff that they had a Dutch coach, so it's not really fair.
Yeah, I mean, Germany wasn't really up
Yeah.
to the task.
Yeah.
It
No,
it wasn't
and
the usual Germany.
when there's a Dutch coach involved, chances are there's going to be European football being played. So, so that was, but tomorrow, of course, we have also a number of games. We're talking. Let me just get the list up here. Yeah, but the Dutch will never win. Das Schiff says, "Yeah, we'll see about that this time, mate."
Yeah, not going to win. Italy is
Yeah,
going
not,
to. Fuck.
yeah.
You know how
I have
much?
more I have more
So,
trust in Italy, to be honest. So
so the
yes,
thing is, I don't think we're going to win. I don't think
yeah,
so. But if we do,
yeah.
after
It's
we
gonna
won
be great
Eurovision,
year. Yeah,
Eurovision,
yeah,
then you win the Euros. It's like
yeah.
it's like
Double.
it's going to be really
That'll be
hard
it.
to live with
That'll
me
be
again.
a great boost for Italy, to be honest. And after the last 2 years, I think you guys might need it. That would be
Yeah,
really a good.
I
You
don't know
know.
that you I don't know that you guys would need me being boasting about that though.
Yeah. We talked about that last night as well. I'm sure you saw it. I was like, yeah, the first thing that's going to happen is Dante's going to be insufferable
Yeah.
for like days.
I mean, it's not my fault if Italy is such a
Yeah,
great
it's
country.
yeah, no, exactly,
If we are good
But
at everything, we can do everything. We are like the best country in the world. It's not my fault. It's just the way it is.
just the way it is, guys. So
And that's why
anyway,
that's why when it comes to your clash of cultures,
yeah,
it's not that people should integrate or whatever. It's like
it's just become
everyone
Italian.
should just become Italian, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's
As a
the
Dutch person, that kind of hurts, because Italy is a very lovely culture, but your language is just incomprehensible to us.
it's
So
better.
you'll have to,
You
and
do
of
know that it's
course
better. Our
you need
I
a
mean,
king.
our
You need a
language,
king.
our
You
language is
can't
not
go
a
without
meme.
one.
You have a meme of a language. You are literally a meme. Why do you
Yeah,
even
yeah,
try?
yeah, yeah. Anyway, tomorrow's games are England Croatia at 3 o'clock CET, Austria North Macedonia at 1800. We'll see what comes from that. And of course, my big game is at 2100 is the Netherlands Ukraine. I'm
Oh,
really looking forward to that one.
I wouldn't.
I think Ukrainians are going to win.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
And with that
But we
said,
might get lucky, like the Belgians did against Russia tonight with 3-0.
I
You
think
know.
we can end Eurocast here tonight. I think
Yeah, I think so, guys.
next week are going to be here again, always around
Yeah,
10 o'clock. Same day,
exactly.
same time, same
Yeah,
people, stupid
I'll
people.
make sure you don't have to call me to get on the Eurocast this time, Dante.
Yeah, yeah, that would
Yeah,
be. And as you might have seen, people, this one was a bit rushed.
yeah.
But I think
But it went well.
even then
Yeah,
I think we had like the topic
yeah.
we had tonight was quite
Was deep enough and broad
yeah
enough to,
to
spend at least one on.
yeah
Let's be honest.
and we can probably do a lot more in the future if
Yeah.
we want to because it's such a deep topic.
Exactly, and
And
also because there's we're almost out of time. Expect pictures if you want to see pictures of Dante's cats. You will have to go either onto his OnlyFans or ask him very very nicely in the Forum Godtefucken chat. So
as always, we are going to now go in the audio chat, and this is where each time we go an after show there. So for the people listening on Twitch, you can, if you want to, you can join us there. So there is a
yeah,
point of being here when it's live, and you can always join with us because I know there are people
exactly.
watching this like later. And
Oh, oh dear, oh dear.
as always, you can find the episodes on Twitch and later on YouTube.
Yeah,
We always make them available there. So I think that's about it.
yeah, exactly.
So
Oh,
good night.
good night to everyone then.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.